My grandpa was. I lived with my grandparents in the early stages of life, and of course, there are very few night games that they had. Grandpa was watching it on WGN. Of course, Harry Carey was the broadcaster, and the Cubs weren't very good back in the early '80s and mid '80s, of course. But whenever they were on and something exciting happened, Grandpa's on the couch clapping his hands, and Andre Dawson smacking home runs out of the ballpark, and it was something that you really watched and got caught of, is because that was what my grandpa was watching. So obviously, I'd follow suit.
My entire family's Cardinal fans. So my grandpa was a Cardinal fan, and on my dad's side, and my dad's Cardinal fan. All my aunts and uncles, cousins. So I don't have anybody, I don't think, in my family that's Cubs fan.
Mm-hmm.
At work, he had a Cubs pennant up. And so when I came in and we started talking, I said something about, I think you asked me what my favorite sport was.
Mm-hmm.
And I said baseball, but I'm not on the same team as you.
It wasn't so much of a turnoff at that moment in time, but the fact that she liked baseball was good enough for me.
Like that?
There was no letdown. There was no letdown at all. I mean,
No.
just because she was a fan of the other team didn't necessarily mean that she was going to become a bad person.
Hope not.
A couple of years ago, when the two teams locked up in the NL Division Series, and obviously the Cubs won it in 4 games, and I didn't really know how it was going to play out between us, but she was amazingly courageous in her attitude towards being able to be complimentative, being rather polite about the whole thing, and after it was over with, as I mentioned, the Cubs obviously won in 4 games. I didn't stand up and rub it in her face. I gave her a kiss. I remember, I gave you a kiss.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a sour sport.
And I said thank you, because, she wasn't just sitting there sulking and being like, this is stupid.
No.
Let's watch something else.
And last year when the Cubs went to the World Series, I was the same way.
Yep. She was very supportive.
Except
that
he thought
way
I
too.
was going to mess it up, the whole entire thing for the Cubs, because I decided on the last game, Game 7, that I would support the Cubs by wearing one of his Cub shirts. And so I went in our room, I got out one of the Cub shirts that he has, but I got it out of order. And he just told me that I messed up the entire World Series because I got his shirt out of order.
All comes down to one game, and she's got to choose the shirt. Well, sure, everybody who is a superstitious fan has their shirts in order, and you wear them in the order that they are in.
Okay.
When he sees this, he says, "Daddy."
I saw that.
He's got Cardinal hats, Cub hats, and Cardinal shirts and Cub shirts. And
I believe the phrase we're going to allow him to be very democratic. He's going to be able to make his own decisions on his own time, and
I have older kids, and they are all Cardinal fans. So Brett kind of said, "Just give me one.
don't steal this one
Don't
from
steal
me."
this one."